Hey punks, welcome back to the University of Radlands. We have an advanced theory today on probably what is one of the most important cards in the game. Now this is a card that I've talked about before in other videos. It had a blurb in my events video. We talked about it in the junking how-to video, and then also had my number one tip in my beginner's tips video. That's right, punks. Today we're going to talk about the event Raiders. All right, we have the name over here, of course, Raiders. We've got the yellow and black border. So let's see what this does. There's no cost to it, and we'll go over that in a moment. But it's a 2-timed event, and it's damage one of the opponent's camps of their choice. So the opponent gets to pick which camp they choose to damage. Now, as I mentioned before, there's no cost to this. Now, the reason for that is because this is one of 2 cards that you don't actually draw out of the deck to play. So every other person and event you will draw out of the shared deck between the 2 opponents, except Raiders. It goes over here to the side. Now, unlike Water Silo, which you can pay a water for to bring to your hand, the events can only be played by junking stuff, cards from your hand, or having cards that have the Raider junk symbol. So let's go over those. So when you're picking camps, there's a few different options that you have. We actually have 4 camps in the game that allow you to send out the Raiders. Probably the most prevalent or most cost-friendly here is the garage. 1 water, you can send the Raiders over to event spot number 2. We have Victory Totem for 2 water, can do a Raiders, Scavenger Camp, 2 waters, Raider, and Outpost, 2 waters, Raiders. So out of the camp cards, the 34 or so that are there, you have a pretty slim chance, it looks like, of maybe finding a Raiders event that you can have down here to use all the time whenever you want. So if you're getting a Raiders, one of these cards out of your 6 that you pick, that might be a good idea to consider choosing one of those cards. The only other card in the game that actually has the Raider symbol that you can pay for using a water is the person, the scout. So he would play like you would a person, protecting camps, protecting other people. He can be protected. Pretty cost-effective garaging, if I say, or raiding, if I say so myself, similar to the garage. 1 water, you can move the Raiders to the event queue. The other great thing about Raiders is when you have this symbol here, not only can you play the event, you can then also move the event forward. So as like I discussed in my events video, Raiders is the only event that you can actually move along the track, except with a special camp, which we'll get to later. So you can move it up to 1, you could have it resolved, and then you can send the Raiders out again. You can send and resolve and move up the Raiders as much as you can pay for. So besides having these few cards that allow you to pay water to send out the Raiders, we also have junking. So there is 6 people that allow you to junk for Raiders. And again, there's 2 of every person, so 12 people. And then 2 events, 4 total. So 16 total cards out of the 66 in the deck that allow you to junk. This is probably one of the most prevalent junking symbols that you can find in the deck. And that's because, if you don't have a way to pay for Raiders, I guess the developer still wanted you to have a way to send out and move along the Raiders, just because it is definitely an interesting aspect to the development of the game, one of the more interesting mechanics that you have available to you when playing Radlands. So you can pay for it with abilities. You can junk cards for Raiders. That means putting them in the discard to either send out the Raiders or move it up the event queue. Now there's a few combos that I like to use with Raiders. I think it's as I mentioned before, a pretty awesome and interesting mechanic in the game that we don't have to draw this card from the deck. We have access to it as long as we can pay for it or junk something to bring it out. and it's one of the most consistent ways that you can deal damage to your opponent. Now they get to pick what's being damaged, so that you can't strategize a lot around that, but there's a few cards that I like to combine with this that can hurt your opponent. Now, normally your opponent is going to probably damage camps that are well protected. Maybe they have a couple people in front of them, or a camp that they're not worried about defending as much. So raiders paired with the camp catapult or a well-protected sniper is a pretty good combo. So raiders will resolve at the beginning of the turn, or will resolve if you junk enough stuff or pay for enough abilities to resolve them. The opponent damages one of their camps. Well, now you can damage any card with either catapult or sniper. So no matter how well protected their camp is, you can then deal one more damage to take it out. So that's one of my favorite combos with raiders, is using the catapult or the sniper. Some other good combos. Obviously, if you can find an omen clock as well. For 1 water, you can advance any event by 1. So it's a way that you can help accelerate or move your raiders forward if you can pay for that. And then bombardment is another pretty good event that pairs well with raiders. So it's pretty expensive to get out, but it goes in spot 3. So if you have a raiders that is in front of it and it damages a camp, well, then when bombardment goes off, if they already have one of their camps damaged, then they have to destroy that camp, and that allows you to be able to draw a card, which is nice. Or, if bombardment goes off first and you have a raiders right behind, well, the opponent has to damage all of their camps. And then if a raiders is able to resolve right after that, well, one of the camps they've just decided to damage, well, now I have to destroy one of those camps. So bombardment's another event that can pair really well with raiders if you can get the timing just right. Again, pretty expensive, but they do work well together. Well, that's the raiders in a nutshell. So it's an event, but a different kind of event, and an interesting mechanic that the developer has provided just to add another layer or level to Radlands. So if you have any favorite combos that you have with raiders, comment down below. Let me know what those are. And if you have any other events, camps, or people that I haven't done an advanced theory on before, also comment that down below, and I'll get to it as soon as I can. And as always, stay thirsty, punks.